Welcome back. We'll be starting the newspaper reviews with The Nation. Major headline: businesses hit by airlines, flight delays and cancellations. 33,235 delayed, 1,189 cancelled out of 70,543 trips last year. 2025 UTME results ranked best in 12 years despite glitches.
Which one is it?
He said the results were better even though they were glitches.
No,
in the system.
They said it was better. Yesterday they said they were worse.
No. They said in comparison from for 12 years now, this was better. Yeah, this was better.
Even though we had
so many they had issues
that got less than 200.
Yes.
Okay.
So PDP access.
Mine is got to 91. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
PDP Access Bank orders get 14-day waiver to clear FCT ground rents. Suicide bombing attempt foiled at Abuja Army Barracks. No Borno Council will fall to insurgents, Zulum vows. Uncertainty over PDP NEC meeting. Speaker Abbas withdraws compulsory voting bill. Panel gets 4 weeks on 753 duplexes. What stories do we have in The Nation?
Owners of the 4,794 properties in the FCT with revoked land titles yesterday got a 14-day presidential reprieve. So the president intervened in the takeover. Remember, that started going into their properties and taking those properties from them. So the president, he intervened, and so they've gotten 2 weeks, to sort of sort themselves out. The director of the FCT Department of Land Administration was the one who told us about the presidential intervention. So some of the properties that were announced last week that were sealed off yesterday, we have FIRS premises, and I heard so many people yabbing FIRS. They say people go around collecting taxes up and down.
You have not paid
you haven't, yes, ground rent. And Wadata Plaza, the headquarters for PDP, which they have politicized. I'm hearing all sorts of things about that. Then Access Bank office. These are among, the high-profile properties that were sealed by the FCTA officials for owing ground rents ranging from 10 to 43 years. They said that owners of the properties in central area of Abuja would, apart from settling the ground rent, would pay 5 million naira as penalty.
Wow.
Those properties in Maitama, Asokoro, Wusetu, and Guzape districts will pay the ground rents as well as 3 million naira penalty each. Defaulters in Wuse 1, Garki 1, and Garki 2 will pay 2 million as penalty and ground rents owed. Let me read FIRS, how they're responding to this. So FIRS is demanding an apology from FCTA. They described their action as malicious and unprofessional. They said, why would FCTA carry out such an embarrassing invasion of its office after it had paid over 2.3 million covering outstanding rents from 2000 to 2024? And that what they've done is unjustifiable. They said, we honored the demand notice, made the payment, and followed up to get a receipt. Instead of resolving the matter administratively, they chose to storm our offices and seal them. That can be quite annoying. So yes, they've owed and they are trying to sort it out, and they've made some payment. Yeah. So why would you treat them as the same as those who haven't even started paying at all? So yeah.
But they said the bill was decades ago. Were they aware that they were owing when they moved in?
Let's just even
an ongoing conversation that you guys are owing to come and pay.
How many Nigerians
they just
pay
woke up?
Ground rent?
Yeah.
But he has made it known that this was something he had been asking them to pay.
Look, when they said they took they put it in the papers.
Yeah.
You know what they do? They go to this obscure paper that nobody reads.
No, we actually read them.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I know that when people do notices like that, it's an obscure paper.
But how many people actually read papers? We read because we're here.
No, so you're right. So beyond the papers, if you really want them to get to know it, hope you send them messages. Stuff
or
like
you
letters.
Like Lagos State, when they're sending you ground rent, they send you the ground rent.
You will see. They will stick it to your door.
Yeah. Letters, you can't miss it.
So if you miss it, it's your own.
I want to take a real estate, still in the same real estate story. This particular one has to do with the 753 units of houses.
I'm excited about that story.
Yes, so they have set up a ministerial committee to access.
That's the part I don't like.
Yes, they set up a ministerial committee to access how they would dispose of the 753 units of Abuja estate that was confiscated from the former, it's part of, was linked to corruption, and it was confiscated. It has been handed over from the EFCC to the Ministry of Housing. And now they have set up a committee that is being headed by, is chaired by the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Housing, who would then now decide how they want to sell. But what the part I don't like is that they said they were going to complete the buildings.
No.
It's part of it. They said they were going to complete the buildings and sell. I feel Nigeria, the government shouldn't spend any more money on that project.
Honestly.
It should just be strictly a conversation around how do we disburse this building and recover the funds, not for us to now spend more money on it, because we know that it's still going to end up in connection people's
But you also didn't mention the name of the person involved.
Oh, okay, yes. They did
allegedly.
Because they did not mention his name in the report, but we know that it has to do with the former CBN governor. So, Emefiele was linked with
Waike's best friend.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
So I took the suicide bombing attempt at Mogadishu barracks. The suicide bomber came into the the pedestrian side of the thing. He was wearing a t-shirt, and I think the soldiers were a bit suspicious of him, so they stopped him and, kept him a bit, and then the next thing he just went off. The bomb went off and
killed himself.
Killed himself, and then two people, they didn't die, but they were injured. They're in hospital now. So.
Hey, now wow. Okay, I took the major headlines. So they said businesses have taken the hit from the incessant flight delays and cancellations across the over 30 airports in the country. The aviation industry is central to economic development, but there appears to be no end in sight to the menace. So a report by the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, says that no fewer than 19,250 passengers were delayed for long hours at airports last year. They said almost half of the 70,543 flights on domestic routes were either delayed or cancelled outright, highlighting the plight of businesses and passengers. The statistics from the NCAA showed that 33,235 flights, representing 47.1%, experienced flight delays, while 1,189, representing 1.7%, were cancelled outrightly. They said this means that a total of 34,424 scheduled flights operated by indigenous carriers were either delayed or cancelled in 12 months, putting not a few business schedules, ceremonies, appointments, and engagements in jeopardy. They said within the 12 months, about a dozen carriers operated nearly 91 aircraft in their fleet. The figures included aircraft that went for major maintenance offshore. And the breakdown of the NCAA data showed that Air Peace, the largest carrier, recorded 7,619 delayed flights, representing 22.9% of all delayed flights. With 33 cancelled flights, Air Peace also accounted for 28% of all flight cancellations. The Arik Air also had 5,027 delayed flights, representing 15.1%. It had 215 cancelled flights, representing 18.1%. Poor infrastructure, rising jet A costs, inadequate parking space for planes on the apron. The airports, some of these things caused most of the delays and cancellations that they had. But the advice was that they should find a way to work together. Those are very small airlines, and they have a limited, so if you have a few aircraft, you have a limited number of flights you're going to take per day. If you don't work together, that's they are expecting that they work together so that they find a way to balance out the flights they are going to be taking per day. And I just feel that communication is usually the problem, because many of these airlines, they know that they are not going to be flying. There's a form of delay. They do not find a way to communicate to the passengers who are just left standing, stranded at the airports. They need to sort that out. We'll have to take a breather here. When we come back, we'll continue the newspaper reviews. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.